crazy over here, like insane. I haven't seen anything like it before.
Are you still locked in your hotel?
Yeah, so what they're doing now is they're doing a sweep of every building in, like, the block area. So everyone has to go to their rooms, and if you want to leave the hotel, you have to go a certain way. And so, because they found, I'm sure you guys are getting all this information anyway, but, you know, the library had a bomb, and that one set the library on fire. And then they found 2 other bombs, and they dismantled them. But now they want to make sure, because they're saying it's still an active crime scene, and they're shutting down, like, flights today. Like, everything's being shut down. Now New York City is on high alert. It's, like, a big deal. So,
right.
Now we're all still locked in here. Like, we can't even go, if we go to the lobby, we can't even step out of the elevators. There's people that, like, push you back in and, like, make you go back upstairs. So, you know, some people were freaking out because they're like, we're not safe here. We don't want to stay in the hotel. Obviously, if you're in the hotel, there's something wrong. So there was a big ruckus in the lobby. So a lot of people walked out. But it's not safe to be on the streets either right now because they're still checking all bags left in trash cans, like anything suspicious on the ground. There's cops everywhere just checking everything to make sure there's no bombs in the mailboxes, trash cans, like anywhere, any nook and cranny on the street. I mean, it's like there's cops everywhere. I was just trying to get some iPhone video before, but they don't let you outside. Yeah, we're going to be stuck in here for a while. They said they had no idea when we were going to be able to get out.
Tell me a little bit about what happened when you were running the race.
So, as I was approaching the finish line, I was literally 300 yards away. It was like 0.20 of a mile left, and you just heard this sound that I've never heard before. I can't even describe it. It's so loud and so surreal. Like, you hear, like, the ringing in your ears after you hear it, and then when I looked up, there was smoke and fire everywhere, and then after it cleared, like, half the runners I were with were in shock. Like, all of them, like, just got down and started crying because no one knew what happened. Everyone was worried because everyone's families are at the finish line. So it was just chaos. Like, no one really knew what to do, and then they heard the second explosion go off, and it was, like, literally like a war zone. I've never seen anything like it. I mean, some of the things that you saw, you don't see on regular basis. There was blood everywhere.
Where your mom was and what she was doing.
Okay, so my mom was right on the same side of the sidewalk where the explosion was. Literally she probably said, like, they were 100 yards from it. So they saw everything that happened. They saw, you know, people getting, you know, there was blood everywhere. There was people that didn't have some of their limbs anymore. And a guy was right beside her who had his leg badly, it was, like, really a bad wound. It was still intact, but he was badly wounded. He was a runner who had just finished crossing the finish line, and he was in complete shock because he just didn't understand what had happened. So she had to, you know, help pick him up and get him to the side, like, away from the sidewalk. They were trying to get everyone in the street so that if anything else exploded on the sidewalk, no one else would get hurt. So she had to, like, get him to the middle of the road, and then that's when the police all started coming in, and they completely cleared the area. I've never seen people run in so many directions in my life. Nobody really knew what to do. No one knew what was going on. It just, everything happened so fast, and I've never seen anything like it. Like I said before, it was literally like a war zone. It was just, you know, so many people were hurt, and, you know, the ambulances started coming in, and people were running everywhere because they didn't know what was going to happen next, and the police wanted everyone off of Boylston Street. So everyone was kind of, they didn't know where to go because everyone's hotel was on Boylston Street. So
how did you find your family?
Chaos. So when I found my family, basically no one could get any cell phone reception. No calls were going through anywhere to anyone. Everything was busy. So what we had to do is the police even though we were right near the 300-yard line where the finish line was, they made everyone walk back about 2 blocks to Mass Ave and Boylston Street. So they stopped the runners, even if runners were right in front of the finish line. They were at mile 25. They had stopped the race. They barricaded it off. And everyone was trying to go into the bars or the restaurants to call someone on a landline. because no one could find anyone, I started asking everyone to use their cell phone because most of the runners didn't have cell phones. So anyone that I found, I was like, can I use your cell phone? Is your cell phone working? Going into different restaurants. The restaurants' lines were busy. So finally I got some reception. My dad answered, but he said, finally, I'm like, oh, you guys are okay, thank God. And so he was like, well, we need to meet you. Where are you? And I told him where I was. And to get back to where they were, they had started barricading the streets off so they wouldn't let anyone just go straight away to where you need to go. You have to walk 2 blocks back and 2 blocks around and then come all the way around. But right now, that's not even possible anymore. You can't. The city is on, like, a severe lockdown, so you can't get within, like, a 3-block radius from where the explosion happened.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's closed down.
Wow. Unbelievable. So were you guys, everyone's accounted for in your family, though, now?
Yeah, thank God everyone's accounted for, and I had a couple of close friends near, right next to the explosion, but they're fine. One of our family friends is wounded, but fine. They're going to be okay. It's just a couple cuts and bruises. And so everyone's good over here.
How is your family doing? I mean, especially like your mom, and I don't know if your dad was there too, helping out. How are they doing emotionally? Just seeing, they just got right in there and started helping, huh?
Yeah, well, my mom was a nurse, so she was, trying to stay as calm and collected as she was, but even she started crying immediately because she just couldn't believe that someone could do something like this, and she was scared for her family. And I also have a 12-year-old sister who, saw some things today that she probably hoped, and my family hoped she would never see for her whole life. Not every day your whole family gets to see something that, a war zone scene that you hope your children never have to see.
Right.
So they're a little shaken up, and, luckily we have each other, so we're just, all comforting each other and just being thankful that we're together. But, they were hoping that we were going to have, like, a nice celebration after the race and some family time, and, it's heartbreaking that instead we're locked down in our hotel thinking about, all of these people who were hurt today and, their families and how they're feeling and trying to cope with what we saw and that something like this could actually happen. It's the one thing my sister said, and it's heartbreaking to hear a 12-year-old say, like, can we do anything that's safe anymore? Can we go anywhere that's safe? And, can we go anywhere that's safe? You kind of ask yourself the same thing. What can we do now that's safe?
Yeah. Well, how close do you guys live? I mean, and have the police and hotel told you anything about even for the people that actually live around, in Boston, when you're going to be able to get home to your actual homes?
Well, that's the thing, is they can't give us an answer. They don't want. I've asked them several times just because, we don't want to stay in the hotel, and there's been a slew of people that don't feel comfortable even staying in this area, but they're really adamant about not being out on the streets right now because they told me it's still an active crime scene. We can't tell you to go out there because it's not safe, and we wouldn't be doing our job if we told you that you could go out on the streets. So they're saying, they've no time. They haven't given us any time limit, but they said this is still an ongoing investigation. We're sweeping every building in a 3-block radius. We're sweeping every inch of street, and you guys, you can leave at your own will, but if you leave the hotel, you have to exit left, which is away from where the explosions happened, and so you can't get to your car, you can't get to where your car is parked, but you can physically walk, but it's at your own risk, and they highly suggest everyone just staying in their room.
Mm-hmm. And then what have you heard about why? Have there been, I'm assuming, rumors circulating about why or who did this or anything like that?
Yeah, so their first assumption, and this is just from talking to police officers that were outside our hotel, is that their first assumption is, they think this is some sort of a terrorist attack, but they said that's the first thing they have to assume when something like this happens. But they haven't confirmed that, and they also can't confirm that these 3 explosions are related, although they would assume that, but they can't confirm that that's actually what it is. And so they're just they said they're just trying to make sure everything's locked down before they make a decision. But I know they are at Franklin's Hospital in Boston right now. The FBI was going there, as well as other police, to interview the victims to see if they saw anything suspicious. And some people that we were talking to in the hotel lobby said that their family or friends had seen, many people have seen this guy that was walking around with a bunch of backpacks, and I guess a lot of people noticed it but didn't, because there's so many people in Boston, and there's so many things going on at the marathon, and people selling things and moving things that they didn't think anything of it. But there was a couple of people that had said they'd seen a guy with a lot of backpacks, and then later they had confirmed something about, I didn't really listen to the news, but there was something on it about a man with many backpacks that was walking near the areas. So some people that I was talking to said they saw that man.
Gotcha. So right now the plan is for you guys to just obviously stay put in your hotel. I'm assuming just happy that you're all together and safe.
Yeah. I mean, it's a little nerve-wracking just because they're not telling us why they're sweeping it or, what, where they got that tip, why they're sweeping the buildings. But, yeah, we're just going to be in our hotel room till they can tell us we can leave.